Kenny. Lots to talk about today.
Scott, why don't we start with the goalie interference that wasn't. I imagine that was, after you guys looked at it, it seemed like a no-brainer to challenge that. Safe to say you and probably a lot of people were surprised at the decision there?
Yeah, we were, and we'd call that all day. We would call that, challenge that every time. So they made the decision. We have to live with it. We had to kill the penalty. We didn't, and then we're down 2-0. I just like the way guys, stayed in it, found a way to get ourselves back in the game.
Yeah, and I imagine one place all that confidence comes from is knowing knowing you guys can put up some goals and have been scoring 7 more tonight, 7 different guys. That's kind of an example of just the depth this team has. Yeah,
that was a wild one. It was just, you get a lead and tie it back up. We were down a couple, got to tie it back up. It just was kind of a wild one that we kind of stayed in. We always harp on staying with our structure, keep playing the way we know how to play, and that we'll get rewarded. And it's great to see some of those guys score some goals that hadn't scored in a while.
Right. Logan Stanley being one of them, he gets the goal earlier, but then the big hit and the fight, and that earns a power play. When something like that happens, I imagine there's a collective almost lift that the team feels, and that was a big moment and led to another big moment.
It really did. It really sparked the crowd. They got into it. Obviously, our bench as well, and Stan's a big man, and when he does that stuff, he's going to create more space for himself. And it was a big moment, and then we go out and do what we have to do after that.
You talked before about how, with Stan, you don't want the stage fights or anything, but that moment there, like drawing the instigator, and frustrating the opposition, like, is that kind of one of those benchmarks you want him to be hitting in games and kind of getting their grill?
Yeah, I don't think he had an option whether to fight or not. The guy was on him pretty quick, but the big thing is to be a bully, to get after the skill, get after their players, make them retaliate, whether that's a penalty, maybe get slashed or punched or something. That case there, he draws 17 minutes. So he just has to play that game where he intimidates the opposition, and people don't want to go near his side of the ice, hopefully, and they want to, maybe go somewhere else, and that's kind of how you build that reputation and that sort of identity.
Dylan Samberg scores another goal tonight. He's been shooting the puck a lot more at 5-on-5. His offensive game is obviously something that you guys wanted to see take a big step. What's it been like for that, to see the early rewards with that game?
Yeah, we're in November, and he's already got a career high. So the big thing about it, I think I've mentioned a few times, that he's playing with our top 6 a lot more than maybe he was prior to, because he's had to go head-to-head with more of the bottom 6. He knows that he has a good shot, and he knows that he has to find a way to get it to the net front. And a great screen on that one. I think it was Scheif in front. But we talk to RD all the time about create that. If we were winning races, winning battles to get the net front, we got to make sure that we send that puck there, and that was a great opportunity for him to do that.
I don't believe Kyle Connor took another shift after the hit from Kucherov. Was he pulled from the game, or?
That was the spotters.
Spotters.
Yeah, he's fine. He was high-fiving everybody there at the end. So.
Did you get a thorough explanation maybe for that goaltender interference non-call?
I can't really comment on that. I think we all saw what we saw. Just felt that Helly never had a chance to make the next save. Understand the first part, but the next part was he didn't have a chance to make the next save, and that was the beef for us.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the comfort in discussing officiating hot off a win would be, but it seems throughout the game too, like there were maybe some non-calls, and at the end there's a non-call on that Kucherov hit on Kyle Connor there. Maybe I'll just ask, in that particular play, what did you see, and did you think that should have been a call?
Yeah, I thought it. I went back and looked at it. He got him from behind, but it was Casey was engaged with one of their defensemen, and I think he ended up hitting his head right on his head or shoulder or whatever, and that was the kind of the dangerous part of it. But you know what? Over the course of 82 games, they're going to go your way, where you're getting lots of opportunities, power play. You're going to go other nights where you're not drawing calls, but you got to play. That's the stuff you got to kind of. I know that was at the end of the game, but the stuff earlier, I thought we did a good job of putting it behind us and just moving on and taking care of business.
Another good news question. Nikolaj Ehlers obviously setting the record for points by a Danish-born player. What can you say about that accomplishment?
Yeah, that's his career. Obviously, he's a goal scorer, and they got off to a slow start, that line, and now they're up and running. Now he's feeling pretty good about himself, and I think the biggest thing for me on that play is that we lost the faceoff, and Perfetti jumped one D, he jumped the other D, and got possession, turned it over, made a great play to Stan, and to me that's the that's the second effort. That's the kind of buying into, playing without the puck, and that led to that. And for him, I'm sure as a countryman there, I think is it Franson, or I mean that's another great player, and proud moment for him.
Last one for me. Is that maybe that jumping and stealing that puck? Is that a theme for that line now? Because I think Perfetti stole one leading the Ehlers' hat trick goal.
Yeah, well, that's I think it was Vladdy first and then Perfetti second. It was both of them. To me, that's our mindset is when we don't have it, go get it. I've kind of been talking about that, whether it's in our end of the rink or the offensive end. And if you can pressure defenders to make a play faster than they want to, like they did, like Fly did tonight, that's the hard work part that pays off.
What did you think of the execution on the 2-on-1, like the Scheifele-Velarde goal there?
Yeah, it was pretty textbook. Obviously, those guys can make those kind of plays. I thought obviously it was a big time to score that goal. But I do have to give a shout out to KC on the shorthanded one where Mo broke his stick, how hard KC came back on that one. Obviously, Helly made a big stop, but KC came the distance, and, we got ourselves back. So those are all the second effort things that we talk about that make a difference in a game.
Just one more for me. I'm curious, the missed call or the challenge that went the other way, down 2-0. It almost seemed to wake the bench up in a way, and momentum shifted there. As a coach, seeing that the tempo was increased, the shot volume and all that. What was that for you to see their response immediately from that point?
Yeah, we really hadn't got into the game yet. I think that sometimes when you come home, we talked about the Toronto game. We never got into that first period. I just thought it's kind of the circumstances got to force us into that game, being down 2-0 fairly quickly. And I just went back and got to work. I think we spent 4, maybe 5 continuous shifts in their end of the rink before we scored. And that's kind of the mentality. You can't worry about kind of what's in behind you. You got to move forward. And I like the fact that we put that 2-0 behind us and got after them. Thanks. Thank you.